Mythic Plus, an extremely popular game mode in World of Warcraft since Lich King has been in the game, and even though it's been running for over 10 years now, the mode is still not always perfect. In Midnight, Blizzard made quite a few changes, for example introducing the affix that makes mobs glow, so tanks know the route to get to 100, and now with patch 12.1, they're bringing another change that players have been wishing for in some cases for years. I think the whole thing is very, very positive. We'll take a look at what's coming in the future, and we'll also see what additional feature I'd still like to see. Because, if you're given an inch, you should take a mile, so don't just be satisfied with what's there. Always be greedy, ladies and gentlemen. I'm greedy too, so please leave a like, subscribe if you want to support me, and with that, let's take a look. Otherwise, here's a reminder, all my keys and videos are available on my second channel, G6+. We've now leveled up my healer to almost 3.3k rating from 0. If you want to see more about that, feel free to check out the videos there. And yeah, what do you think is probably the biggest problem with Mythic Plus, and also one of the reasons why, in the end, so few people really want to tank? Yeah, the root. What makes routing pretty difficult is the fact that without an add-on, you actually don't know what percentage the mobs give you. And even then, you can't plan routes within the game. One of these flaws or disadvantages will still be there, but at least in the upcoming patch we'll finally get trash count in the game, and that's a very, very good thing. If we take a look at the PTE here, we can see that in the future mobs in Mythic Plus will have percentages next to them. For example, we can see this here from the murder row, and it says these hooligans give 0.043%, or like here, Fellworm gives 0.14%. Now you might be thinking, yeah, whatever, who really cares? But personally, I see it differently. Tank number 1, I'm not passionate about tanking, I'll say that right up front, but especially when you're playing as a tank, it happens very often that you're at 89 or 98.7%, you just need a few more percent and realize, okay, I actually have no idea which mob I should pull next. And that makes it even more frustrating. You also can't look it up in the dungeon journal. In the future, you'll be able to check it there, okay? The mobs give this much. And theoretically, now you know exactly what percentage each mob gives directly in the game. That means, theoretically, you could create a route on the fly using this data. So by calculating it yourself, like, look, that one gives 5, we have 30 now, those back there give this much. You could theoretically add it all up yourself. Of course, it will always be more efficient to put it all together using an add-on, like Mythic Dungeon Tools, or by using routes. But in fact, you now have more options at your disposal. That's why I think this is a really, really good change. I'm very, very happy with that, and it's a step in the right direction. Still, there are 2 things I would still like to see, and I believe they would make Mythic Plus even more accessible, especially tanking. Point number 1 would be, feel free to write in the comments how you see it. All this information here, we currently have the individual bosses in the dungeon journal. But it would be nice if there was maybe another tab here. I don't know, you go to Skyreach, then you do the bosses here, and here you have a tab with, say, just important trash mobs or something, important enemies, call it whatever you want. And maybe not every little sewer rat running around the dungeon should be there. But most of the mobs should be listed with their abilities. Maybe when you hover over it or, like here, click on it again, the most important abilities are displayed and that you can also look up the individual routes in this book. In my opinion, that would be pretty important because the information is now in the game. But you can only use it when you're directly in the Mythic Plus dungeon, and it would be nice if this count was made accessible to players in other ways as well. And point number 3 or 2, whichever you prefer, goes a little bit further beyond that. At least now we have this affix that makes mobs glow. It shows tanks which mobs they need to pull. And now we have a trash count display in the game. and I don't know how difficult the whole thing is. But now it would be awesome if you could have the information that add-ons provide, like being able to click on different trash mobs in the add-on and then it calculates everything for you, what percentage they give, so you could do that in the game. And here too, I think the dungeon journal in the adventure guide would be ideal for that. Or you could add another window here, like a dungeon planner. You can access it just like you do with add-ons. You can open up a map of the whole thing, and then you click on the individual mobs and save the route in the game itself. That will still take some time before it comes. Yeah, that's not something where I'd say I expect it in the next patch or anything like that. But I think it would be really, really cool if Blizzard would add that. And that would be the absolute deluxe version. If you could, here at Lindormi say, please activate this route for me if you're a tank, or deactivate it for me. And that would be really premium if you could put together a route in the adventure guide. You activate the affix and the game makes the mobs you selected in the route light up. That would be the absolute giga premium solution. I know some people would probably say, then you don't even need to play the game if everything is shown to you right away. But honestly, I don't know. I think it would really help a lot of people get started with tanking, because surviving isn't the hard part. Running a proper route where you don't have 30 extra trash mobs, where you don't have the toughest mobs, that's the hardest part, even now. Even if you do it with an add-on, you always have to have a map or the add-on open and check it for the route. That's why if they added that to the game, in my opinion, it would be a really awesome thing. About the glowing, okay, if you say that's too easy, just leave it out. But just being able to somehow combine these percentages into a route in the game, that would be awesome. What do you guys think about the whole thing? Feel free to write it in the comments. Thanks for watching, see you next time, and take care.